If you are new to this channel, please subscribe and don't forget to like and comment. Today's first story: pregnant and my husband cheated with our SIL. I can't even believe I'm writing this. If you'd have asked me if I thought this would ever be me, I'd bet my life on it that I'd never be going through this. My husband and I have been together 10 years, married for 3. I had 100% trust in him, and I was more than confident he'd never be one of those guys who cheat. My SIL, if you want to call her that, her and Bill are engaged and have been on and off for the 6 years they've been together, and my husband began being close after he started working with her delivering. My mother-in-law also worked there. They'd all often go out bowling or out to eat after work with other co-workers. I also had a close relationship with her. I loved her like a sister. Some other family and friends could never stand her, but I really try to see the good in everyone and try to not have problems with anyone. The closeness of my husband and SIL relationship started bothering me in August. I was assured it was nothing inappropriate. I'm not proud of this, but I turned his location on his Snapchat at this point. I just had that gut feeling. I started monitoring it, but he'd always be exactly where he was supposed to be, so I dropped it. In early September, my husband got a new job, and I felt much better. Late September, SIL and Bill broke up yet again. But my husband kept hanging out with her with my Mill and other co-workers from his old job. It bothered me, but I tried not to be the psycho crazy controlling wife. Also in early September, we found out we were pregnant with our second child. We already have a 5-year-old together. He never wanted a second, but it happened. I was terrified to tell him. I started crying, saying he was going to hate me and want to leave. To my surprise, he hugged me and acted happy. Last week of October, he turned off his Snapchat location and I started panicking. I should have brought it up, but I didn't. If I did, none of this might have happened. But I know I can't blame myself. November 2nd, I got a text from him saying he was going bowling after work with the old cowhawkers and that he felt we needed a break because he wasn't happy. I was taken completely by surprise. I didn't know where this was coming from. When he got home, we talked for 5 hours and he admitted shortly after finding out I was pregnant he began panicking. He really did not want a second child. He also said he feels like his friends don't like him, that he's tired of this pandemic, he feels inadequate at work and feels like he isn't knowledgeable enough, that he fears he'll never be successful enough, etc. He said he has been feeling depressed and suicidal for the past couple months, and that he had been confiding in SIL about everything. I asked if anything was going on, and he said no. I said I swear to God, if anything happens with her you will regret it and hate yourself. It might feel good and exciting and new in the moment, but you will regret it for the rest of your life. Not to mention your whole family would hate you too. He said he knows. By the end of the night he told me he felt much better, that he remembered why he fell in love with me, and that he had no idea why he waited so long to talk to me about his feelings. The next month was great. He didn't ever go out with 2 ex-cowwalkers anymore. He was being more gentle with my feelings. Things were good. Out of nowhere Tuesday morning I get a call from him shortly after he gets to work. I need to tell you something. I cheated. I'm coming home now. I hung up. He kept calling back. I started having a panic attack. I asked with who. He said I think you know. I've asked every detail I could think of. It wasn't an emotional thing. He didn't have feelings. He doesn't know why he did it. He was in a dark place. She started flirting through Snapchat the last couple days of October. He reciprocated. Things got SUAL. She started sending him nudes. He went to a Halloween party. I worked overnight. Our son stayed with my parents. She called him and said to leave the party and come over, that she was home alone. He drove there, and they had sex. He wore a condom. There was no foreplay. Lights were completely off. He tried to leave before anything started multiple times, but she kept saying no, stay. He said he hated himself before, during, and after. So I don't understand why he went through. When he told me he wanted a break on November 2nd, 2 days after it happened, was because of the guilt. But he still was too scared to come clean. They both stopped talking after that. All this week I've been getting 4 hours of sleep every night. I've lost 8 pounds. I randomly have panic attacks throughout the day. Of course my husband is saying all the right things. That he doesn't know why it took so long to realize what he has. That he wants to be a good dad and husband. He's excited for our baby. That he took what he had for granted for so long. He hates himself. He'll never forgive himself. That I did absolutely nothing wrong, and I've never been short of amazing. That he hates her. He feels like she took advantage of him when she knew he was weak and vulnerable. That he knows he doesn't deserve me, that he had the perfect wife and life, and threw it away for nothing. I was betrayed by who I truly believed deep down in my core was my soulmate / love of my life. I was betrayed by SIL, who I thought was one of my closest friends. I also now feel betrayed by Mill, because she is still best friends with SIL. She went out to get nails done with her the day after me, and her found out everything. Never even asked me how I was. It's embarrassing, but I can't stop having S with him. I always imagined if this would happen to me, I'd be burning his clothes and hammering his PS4. I used to think the women who stayed were crazy. I want to stay, but I don't think I can. I keep playing the movies in my head, and I don't think they'll ever leave. I don't believe it would ever happen again, but I also believed it could never ever happen the first time either. I feel embarrassed. Stupid. Gullible. Sorry this was so long. I didn't know how to condense it anymore. Best comment for this story. Take your child and yourself to your parents' house and tell them. They'll probably say a few things that might be hurtful, but regardless of that, they are your parents. You need to sleep, eat, and have someone else make sure you're doing both of those things, and that your 5-year-old is safe and happy. It can be a pre-Christmas mini stay if your little one asks why. Whatever you think and feel is perfectly normal, but I would distance yourself from him and his family for a while so that you can concentrate on yourself. Hugs to you. That's the end of first story. If you guys not subscribed yet, please subscribe. Let's start the second one. I want advice on my wife's idea to fix our marriage after she cheated. I, 35 meters, recently learned that my wife, 33F, cheated on me about 1.5 years ago. My wife and I have been together for nearly 4 years, married for 2. January 7th will be the 4-year anniversary of our first date. On December 26th we were doing a Zoom game night with 3 other married couples. We were playing Never Have I Ever. If you don't know the game, it is a drinking game. One person says something they have never done, and anyone who has done it takes a drink. It's a fun game that can lead to some funny stories. One of the women, let's call her Amy, said what she had never done. I'm pretty sure this was meant as a joke. I haven't talked to Amy since this happened, but I don't think there was any intention or maliciousness or anything like that. Amy said, never have I ever cheated on my spouse. Remember, there were 4 married couples playing. If you guessed that my wife took a drin, then you are correct. Everyone laughed and shrugged it off as a joke, even me. Several people made jokes about it, and I even said something like, I guess we are getting divorced in 2021. The game night continued, as if the incident was forgotten, and it didn't get brought again. Literally everyone seemed to think it was a joke, and didn't give it a second thought. But I noticed a slight change in my wife's manner. After the game night I questioned her, and she tried to dismiss it, but I kept asking. She seemed visibly shaken. Eventually she admitted that she cheated on me a few times during the summer of 2019. It was with only one guy, and she is not in touch with him in any form, and she feels really bad about it. The guy was an employee at her company, but worked on the West Coast. We live on the East Coast, and he was in town for a couple weeks for some project. While she was working late, she went back to his hotel room a couple of times. When the project was over he went back. Apparently he is married with children back there. My wife is no longer at the company. She lost her job due to the COVID situation. But I earn plenty of money, so there was no issue. She was doing some freelance stuff online, but she has pretty much been a full-time housewife over the past year. It is difficult to completely describe her emotional state over the past week, but she seems to be quite a wreck. She is constantly apologizing and begging me to come back to the main bedroom. I've been sleeping in the guest room. She tells me about all the ways she has tried to be a better wife over the past year because she realizes what a mistake she made. I will admit we don't have disagreements or anything anymore. I guess I didn't notice it, but she doesn't get angry at me about anything anymore. Like I said, she has been a great housewife, cooking and cleaning and everything. She lets me relax after work, and she has been initiating frequency, often just performing oral, if I feel too tired. I definitely feel like we have been having more and she does seem to have been a more caring and attentive partner. While I feel numb most of the day, I get these waves of anger and hatred like I've never felt. Now to my question at hand. She has been begging me every day to give our marriage a second chance. I don't know if it's relevant, but we don't have any kids. The house belongs to my parents actually. My father made a fortune in real estate. A lot of my financial assets are already pretty well protected due to some help from my father accountant, so I'm not too worried about getting a divorce, but I have already reached out to my lawyer. My wife keeps coming to me with different ideas on how to fix the marriage. A couple of hours ago she suggested opening the marriage on my end, but keeping it closed on hers, and that this could continue for as long as I need it. I've been sitting here having a drink or two, and it sounds like it's worth a shot. What's the worst that could happen? I'm tempted to get her to agree to it on video. She has even said she will help me find women. I definitely can't steering her offer, although she wants me to do marriage counseling at the same time. I just don't know what to do. Has this worked for anyone? It sounds tempting, but also that is too good to be true.